Lisa from True North Homeschool Academy, and I want to talk to you about something today. Getting radical. I have some health crises, and I have a good friend going through some health crises, and it's amazing what happens when you go through something not normal, the lengths you're willing to go through to find solutions to make things right again, whether it's your health or it's your educational system. And I don't know if any of you gone through a health situation where the doctors don't have solutions. I've been told in my life, yeah, I've never seen that before. This is unprecedented. That's an odd thing to have people tell you in regards to your physical abilities or disabilities. So when you get those kind of responses from the medical community who is supposed to know, you go on a search, you go on the hunt for what's going to help you stay healthy, stay fit, keep walking, keep living in a way that allows you the most bang for your buck. Because you know, and I know, we only get so many days in this on this life, on this earth, in this life, and then it's over. So we want to make the most of it, and we don't want to be disabled. We don't want to be limited because people don't have an answer. And maybe some of you are in a health crisis like that, or maybe you're in an educational crisis like that. I personally think the two questions that most adults have when they have kids is, how am I going to keep this kid healthy and alive and functioning to the best of their ability physically? And how am I going to educate them so that they can go as fast and far as they are meant to go in the world? Now, look, when we're handed that little baby after we birth them, we don't look at that baby and go, oh, I hope you're mediocre. Oh, I hope you're just so average. You know, as parents, we look at our kids and we go, I have all the hopes and dreams for this little person. I want them to be as much as they're able and capable of being, and I will put all my resources. I will go the extra mile to find out what they really need to be the best that they can be. So if you are finding yourself in a transition time where you're just saying, hey, the status quo doesn't work anymore. The educational models that I've counted on, that I grew up with, that seem to do okay. I mean, I went to college, I got a good job, I got a 401k, I did all the things, but now they don't seem to be working so well. And you're kind of going, okay, I need to regroup. I need to adjust. I need to refocus. I need to pivot yet again. And listen, if you think that 2020 was the year of pivot, no, that was the beginning of the pivots. It's just going to keep going. We're not going to end up being pivoted and then we're done. We are in a time of great societal disruption. And when things are disrupted, those institutions and those status quos that we counted on that got us where we went, they might not be able to be relied on anymore. So if you feel like you're at another pivot place with your kids' education or their health, you know, whatever it is, hopefully not their health, but also hopefully not their education. But if you do, you as a parent are your kid's best resource. And I just want to encourage you to go after it. Find out what else is out there. And listen, it's 2024. There is so much out there. There are so many resources for you. I live in South Dakota, so everything is, I mean, there's wide open spaces, but as far as like groups of people, cities and towns, there's not a lot of them. I live in a really average sized city, and there are 3 private schools that have started since 2020, plus 2 hybrid programs. That's a lot of educational opportunities that have just sprung up out of nowhere, not to mention the online opportunities. So if you need to pivot, do it. There's never been a better time to take charge of your kids' education and reimagine education for them. And that's what we need to do as parents, is we need to reimagine what's possible for our kids and how to get them there. Because our kids are going to live in the future. We're probably not going to live there with them throughout the entirety of their lives, right? Like most of our kids are going to live way past when we give up the ghost. And they're going to live in the future beyond our lifespan. And that's okay. That's as it should be. But they're going to live in the future. So we are working with the people of the future when we educate them. And we need to prepare them well for that. So the education that we grew up with might have prepared us well. Maybe it didn't. In my case, I felt like it did prepare me pretty well. I went to a private high school for part of it, and then I went to private colleges and universities. I got a couple graduate degrees at private institutions. I feel very blessed having the ability to have been able to do that. right? Like, and it prepared me well. I was able to get jobs when I wanted them. I was able to step back and not work and rely on my husband's salary while we raised 5 kids and homeschooled them. And then I was able to jump back into the workforce because I had degrees and I had experience and I had the chutzpah to get things done. And so I feel like my educational system, it worked really well for me. But I'm not going to live in, 2088 probably. And so that education that worked well 20, 30, 40 years ago might not work really well for our kids who are going to be alive way past when we are. So it might be time for another pivot. And I want to encourage you, embrace this pivot. Don't run away from it. It might be the best thing that ever happened to you and your kids. And we need to really be thinking about the fact that our kids need to be super resilient for the future that they'll live in. They're going to be working in jobs that don't exist yet. 2 weeks ago, I did a Facebook Live on Neuralink, a new scientific development that Elon Musk has put out, but the Chinese government has said that they've done it too. So basically, they are creating neural links inside people's brains. And the hope is that at some point, there'll be a mouse-like device that a person's brain can use to move their limbs. So they're starting out with quadriplegics, and I think there's going to be a lot of inventions and innovation and technology, etc., that goes from there. So again, our kids are going to live in a future that we were not prepared for with our educational system. My exhortation to you is look at the education system you're utilizing for your kids and really think and sort it out and think, is this really giving my kids what they need for the future that they're going to live in? And then be willing to embrace unconventional learning. Because look, most of the leaders in the world were educated in unconventional ways. Most of them, I'll be honest, throughout history were homeschooled. The founding fathers were all homeschooled. A lot of our great scientists, all homeschooled. A lot of the our tech leaders now, they actually did very small private micro schools for their kids. So while they might not have been homeschooled in the way that we think of it, they actually had very unique alternative educational models and systems because they realized what they wanted for their kids. They were very intentional about it. They were very strategic about it. And that's what I want to encourage you guys to do, is to be very strategic in how you're going to educate your kids and be willing to think outside the box. Just like if you have a physical situation where the doctor comes back in the room and says, I have never seen this before, I don't even know what to start. That's when I embraced unconventional medicine and started going to functional medicine doctors and drinking green tea by the quartful and all those other kind of things. So if you're in that situation with your kids' education, it's time to embrace unconventional learning. Consider alternative educational methods that align with your kids' unique strengths, interests, and yes, challenges. Look, I know testing is a dirty word in the homeschool community, but having a good diagnostic tool like what we offer, the Performance Series test, it can tell you what your kids are really rocking and rolling at and their challenges. And it's just an assessment tool. It doesn't mean your kid is, this doesn't determine your kid. It just says, these are the challenges that they're facing. These are the strengths that they have. How can you adjust and pivot the educational model that you're using for your kids to really shore up their areas of challenge and to really, really light the fire on the things that they're really good at and they're passionate about and they're just naturally skilled at. That's one of the beautiful things about creating your own educational model and system, right? So be willing to ignite change in your educational model. Be willing to do something radical for your kids, because your kids' future is relying on the choices that you make today. Now, a lot of the educational system is in crisis. A lot of the public schools are emptying out. They were emptying out. 2020, obviously, everybody went home. But there is just a lot of states are losing students to public school, and people are realizing that traditional norms are not going to work for my kid, and we're willing to think outside the box. So there's homeschooling, there's online schooling, there's private schooling, there's hybrid schooling, there's university model schooling. You can have your kids do dual enrollment at a very young age, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And absolutely be willing to leverage technology for personalized learning. Now, if you've listened to me very long at all, I really do not advocate for a lot of devices and tech in your home for your kids, because the research is in, and what the research says is that technology trains kids' brains in ways that neurologically isn't, it doesn't create a lot of plasticity. It sets them up for just this innate desire for dopamine hits, which we're naturally prone to anyway, but it neurologically creates pathways with the kids, it creates addiction. Let's just be honest, straight up addiction. Read Glow Kids. There's so many other books out there that substantiate that. So you really want to limit technology, but don't be afraid of it. Be strategic about it. Use it strategically. And listen, you can have world-class teachers. You can bring a world-class expert into the privacy of your own home to basically do a small class with your kids or privately tutor them. We offer both at True North Homeschool Academy. So you can utilize our teachers for small group classes or private tutoring. And you can bring a world-class expert into your kids' home from around the world for literally like so inexpensively, it's crazy. It's so worth it. Now, we get told, oh my gosh, at True North, your classes are so expensive. And I just want to say, are they though? Do you buy Starbucks on the regular? Because if you do, your priorities just need to shift a little bit if you're saying our classes are expensive. If you break it down, it is like pennies on the dollar compared to any other educational opportunity because they're having world-class expert teach them. The syllabus, assignments, and grading are done for you. Your kids are learning in a small group, interactive, dynamic classroom. It's not passive learning. They are learning so many soft skills along with the subject matter skills, and really it is a bargain. You are investing in your kids' future. So don't shortchange your kids' future by saying, I might have to give up Starbucks this year to pay for a class for my kids. It's well worth the investment. So be willing to embrace unconventional learning, and then be willing to embrace a radical journey. Now, look, if you do anything unconventional medically, people are going to look at you funny. If you do anything unconventional educationally, people are going to look at you funny, and they're going to question. They're going to say, you know, I had an aunt, then she had that thing, and then she did the thing that you're doing, and then she died. Okay, well, I'm so sorry. That's really not helpful to me. And you're always going to have naysayers. So if you do anything unconventional with education, even though most of the people in the world at this point are doing things unconventional with education, but you're always going to have those naysayers. You're going to always have those people that say, oh my gosh, I knew this family way back when, and their kids didn't even get dressed in the morning. Like literally they were running around the house naked, and they were the captain, you know, that movie, Captain Fantastic Family, and their kids just didn't fit in and they were freak shows. Okay, well, you know, there's always outliers, and there's outliers in public school too. And that doesn't mean because there's one abusive family from Timbuktu that was part of a radical cult that all homeschoolers are like that. In fact, they're choosing the exception to determine the rule. And if we applied that to public school, it would all just go down the toilet so very quickly. So if you have a naysayer in your home or in your family, then you need to, if they're in your home, you've got to really work on that. That's a relationship issue. But if they're outside of their family, then I would say you just need to set some really clear boundaries with them. These are the opportunities that we provided for our kids. We feel really good about them, and we're excited about them. Do you want me to tell you more about them? I've got some great books. It might change your life. Flip it on its head. Don't let them determine what you're doing. Be willing to really think about the future of your kids. Now, are those people going to be in your kids' future life? Maybe, maybe not. If they're not, let it go. So embrace the radical journey and just be willing to know that people are always you're always going to have those people in your life who are like, just the sandballots, to use a biblical phrase. They're always going to be the people who are just not happy with your life choices. And you have to just let that be a them problem. It's not a you problem. It's not your kids' problem. It's a them problem. And then just realize that when you embrace that radical journey, it literally might change your life. And there are so many people looking to build community that have gone off the beaten path. They're looking for you to be part of what their kids are doing and what they are doing. And listen, when you go off that well-beaten path to start a radical journey, you're going to be building resilience and innovation in your life and your kids' life. Now, because I've had to do some radical things with my own health, I have just gotten to the point where people ask me about stuff, I'm just willing to tell them. I mean, I have nothing to lose at this point. And that is the same with homeschooling. I have nothing to lose at this point. For one, my kids have all graduated, but they've graduated and gone on to college, university, the military, entrepreneurship, having families. And so it has been a successful journey for us. It was a beautiful way to raise our family and a lot of fun along the way. So don't forget to just embrace and enjoy the journey, because it is a beautiful way to raise your family and to educate your kids. And this is a great way to turn the challenge of just feeling like you're at a dead end educationally, and you need a better way to educate your kids. You know what worked for you isn't working now, or the situation that you're in is not working for your kids, and you need a different opportunity for growth. Embrace it and listen. I just want to take some pressure off. You do not have to know how it's all going to look or work out now. You don't have to know. All you have to do is be faithful to doing what's in front of you, and then do the next best thing. And listen, you're going to mess up. Your kids are going to have gaps, and you're going to mess up if they go to any other educational situation too. If they're in public school, you'll mess up. This is the way of parenting. You are going to mess up. So just take some pressure off of yourself and say, by the grace of God, I'm going to do what He's called me to do, and I'm going to do it with as much faithfulness and joy and wholeheartedness as I can, and I'm going to let the rest go, because our pay grade is this. We get to be faithful. The outcomes are way above our pay grade. The outcomes are somebody else's. And so if you're worried about the outcomes and making it all look good and making it all get to this certain end point, you're going to be frustrated and upset and feel like a failure all the time. So just let go of that. It's kind of not meaningful, honestly. So how do you even get started if you're going to do this radical educational approach and you know that public schooling is probably not going to work out for you? First of all, check with your state laws and make sure that you have everything in order. You might need to sign a letter of intent to register your kids. Get it done. You can find homeschool state laws at HSLDA. Next, I would suggest that you create an action plan for schooling. And that would just be decide your vision, mission, and goals. What's your why? Why are you homeschooling? And you might say, I'm homeschooling because I'm afraid of what's happening, but I don't know what we're doing. And this seems like, I don't even know. Put down you don't know. And then just figure it out as you go. But you could write down your frustrations, hopes, dreams, and expectations. If you don't have a solid why yet, start with your hopes. Start with your dreams. What are your expectations? Where do you want your kids to end up? Is your kid, sometimes we just look at our kids and we know this kid will never go to college, but they are going to build something. And we know we have a builder on our hands. Other times we have a brainiac and we know, you know what, they need to get a PhD because they need to go into research and they need to change the world from the inside out with a science degree or whatever. But as parents, we know our kids really well. I would often venture to say we know our kids better than they know themselves. So just start with a vision. What are your hopes, dreams, and expectations? Distill it down into one simple sentence. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write your vision, make it plain. That's your big picture, the long view vision for educating your kids. And then determine your mission for the year. What are you going to get done? Write that down for each kid in the following areas: physical, mental, social, and spiritual. So you have 5 kids, physical, mental, social, spiritual for all 5. That's 20 things. And some kids, it's really obvious. This kid really can't skip, so they need to work on skipping this year. Or this kid is going to tear my house down because they are so physical. So we've got to build an obstacle in the backyard or get them into gymnastics lessons or get a rebounder and require that they do 20 minutes every hour on it or whatever. But just think about it. Don't just think academically. We are educating the whole person as parents, whether our kids are outsourced with their academics or they're at home. And so as parents, it's our job to oversee them as a holistic person: physical, mental, social, and spiritual. And then I would say determine your goals. They can be SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. SMART goals are just small incremental steps necessary to complete the mission. Whatever kind of goal system you use that works for you, do that. But then I would also create an action plan for your house. And that includes time management, household management, and homeschooling. Listen, I very rarely knew people who quit homeschooling because of education. I knew a lot of people who quit homeschooling because they couldn't manage their home. And listen, laundry and food are the 2 big things when we're homeschooling or just raising a family, right? Because people keep wearing clothes and people still eat. So how are you going to manage those two things? And just figure it out, make a schedule. I would also encourage you to have weekly family planning meetings, regardless of how old your kids are, because you're teaching executive functioning skills and you're teaching long-term planning for everybody, okay? So just have a weekly family planning. We always did ours on Sunday evening. Our kids always had planners as soon as they could write, or journals or whatever, and coordinate schedules, online classes, meals, extracurriculars and stuff. Do a weekly individual student meeting with each student who is junior high or older, because listen, again, you're teaching executive functioning skills, and there is a whole bunch of kids in the world right now who don't have any. So make sure your kids leave your home with executive functioning skills and understanding how to use a planner and tear things down. Okay, you have an activity, but what does it take to get there? What stuff do you need to have? What do you have to eat before or after? All those kind of things. Help them understand what goes into planning and executing events. And then I would suggest having a collective daily gathering. Now, you can think about this as a morning basket or a morning meeting or devotional time or whatever. We always did an hour, and it was really great. We would get together and do memory work, Bible study, poetry, Latin, etc. We loved our morning meetings. Some of the best memories we have are for the hour in the afternoon. And I always like to break up skills in the morning and concepts in the afternoon. It's a great way to organize your day. Skills in the morning, because most of our kids' brains are fresher, so things like Latin and math, things that build on each other, morning time. And then concept-based learning like literature, Bible, and history in the afternoon. So, okay, that's a lot to think about. I'm going to link a free workshop, and I'm going to link getting started and free printables for you if you want more resources. Thanks for listening. If you have any responses or comments to this, I'd love to hear about it. And listen, if you're going through a tough time right now, either physically or academically, let us know. We'd love to pray for you and lift you up in that way. You're not alone. If you're struggling academically with your kids, there's so many resources for you. At True North Homeschool Academy, we offer free 2-year academic an academic plan and free 15-minute advising. And we will let you know, they're not just sales jobs, let me tell you. We will let you know what classes we offer, of course, because we have great classes and great teachers, but we will link you to other resources. We want to give you what you need to be successful to raise your kids, because look, this is the world we're all in together. We firmly believe in Ecclesiastes 4:9, 2 are better than one, for they have a good return for their labor. And so we want to partner with you so that you can provide the best academic life for your kids possible. And again, I just want to reiterate, it's a great way to raise your family. It's a great way to spend time to get to know each other, to really share the things that are important to you, the things of the Lord, and to build amazing family memories with each other. So I'd love to hear what you think about all this. Have a great day, everybody. I will be back soon. And hey, I will link the workshop, and I'll link the Getting Started printables. But if you're interested in live online classes, 24-25 enrollment is open. And it's been open for several months at this point, actually. So if you're looking for live online classes and you know that you want a specific teacher or day or time, you need to get it sooner than later, because some classes and teachers' classes will fill faster than others. Whodunit always fills super fast: biology, Spanish 1 and 2, chemistry, and informal logic. So those 4 always fill really fast, or 5, however, not counting very well at this point. But let me know if you have any questions about classes or teachers or where your kids should be placed. And let's get this party started. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.